So in the tradition of the Chester River congregation, I'm going to ring the bowl. And when the bowl is done ringing, we will hear Spirit of Life this week by Philip Dutton. So I ask us to center and wait until we can't hear this bowl anymore in the stillness as we approach the longest night. Thank you, Philip. As I said, I am alone in the sanctuary today, but there are elves all over the Eastern Shore that are helping, that are going to help with our words today, that are doing our tech and our recording and our sharing. So we only have 5 days to go until Christmas. And the service today is entitled Conversations with Santa. And it's my hope that through this service, we will each get a little bit in touch with that inner child in us all. I do want to remind us that even though there's 5 days left, we do have more services this week. There'll be an Eve of the Eve service in Chestertown at 7 p.m. on the 23rd. That's Wednesday evening, and we're very excited that Philip's agreed to play some music, and we're going to have some fun there. And the Christmas Eve service for Easton will be at 4:30 on Christmas Eve. And the choir and different folks have been working on some pieces there. If you'd like to attend one or both, if you're from one of the other congregations, just check in. We'll make sure you get the links. Everybody is welcome to as much Christmas Eve and even evening as they would like. If you are joining us by Zoom today, or if you are watching this recording and you'd like to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, if you'd like to learn more about either of our congregations, we would love to hear from you. Normally, if we were in our buildings, there would be a greeter who would say hi and give you an information card and tell you how to sign up for newsletters. It's still possible to do that, but you'll need to email us, or you'll need to find us on the website and find a way to give us a call. So that's our opening this morning, our welcome. It is good to be together. We light the chalice this morning with a sense of anticipation, a sense of wonder. We light the chalice with the peace of this holiday season. We light the chalice, honoring the inner child in us all. We also did something else last week, which was something I hadn't done in Unitarian Universalist churches before, but we did have this sense of, I think, a calling for ritual. And we talked about the waiting of the Advent season. And so in the interest of not having too many candles behind me, I'm just going to put this up for just a minute without lighting something on fire. We light today, the fourth Sunday of Advent, we light a candle. The candles, as we talked about last year, signify times of waiting, peace, hope. And the fourth candle, which I think fits with our service today, is about joy. So I'm going to put the candles back on a slightly lower table. And I ask you to imagine the light, the many ways we draw in light at this time of the year as we hear our opening hymn, Deck the Halls.
La 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 la, 'tis the sea.
Yeah, there we go.
Deck the hall with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, la 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 la. Sing, rejoice us all together, la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, la 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 la.
So there's many things that you can thank your choir director for. One of them was yesterday. She said she was going to Walmart to buy hats. I said, go ahead and buy 2. So at least for this part of the service. I'm going to don my gay apparel for now. Somehow over the years, my husband and I accumulated a ton of children's Christmas books. I actually know where most of them are. They live in a box, and I brought the box over and I sorted through the ones that might have the right story for today. What's interesting is the stories are all pretty idyllic. We have 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, The Grinch That Stole Christmas, but we have lots of other ones where folks are happily going through the countryside, joyously thinking about Christmas. But I was thinking that not all Christmases are exactly like that. They're usually some mix of joy and the other things. And I'm going to tell a story today. I'm not going to read it to you page by page, but some of you may be familiar with Arthur. This is about Arthur's Christmas, and it doesn't go exactly as planned. And again, I'm not showing every picture, but it starts with the pretty pictures. And yet, we go and find in this story, I want to talk a little about Arthur. See, Arthur is the older of the two siblings, and he and his sister DW, and she is just a mess most of the time, they are focused on different problems during Christmas. DW is diving in. She is adding things to her list left and right. She just cannot figure out how to stop, and she's figured out the list part. But Arthur is focused on a different problem. He cannot figure out what is he going to get Santa for a gift. He's twisted up, he's hemming and hawing. Should he get mittens and gloves? And everybody has an idea. His grandma suggests PJs, his mother aftershave. His father says just get him a celebratory tie. And his sister, ever critical, is telling him you're taking this all too seriously, lighten up. And Arthur is just not having a very good day, sort of like Alexandra in that other story. But Arthur wants to do right by Santa, and he walks around the town looking in the windows, doing the window shopping, and no gifts, no gift ideas. And his mind keeps wandering. And he keeps, when he's walking around town, he keeps bumping into Santa's helpers everywhere. He sees that there's a Santa who's buying ice cream and a hot fudge sundae. He sees another Santa, maybe it's the same one, who knows, trying to get Chinese food. Another Santa who orders a diet root beer and some pizza. All he can see is all these things that Santa's doing, and finally he sees Santa eating pickled peppers. Who would have expected that? But as he's thinking, he finally knows what he wants to get Santa, and he goes with his gut. He's gonna bypass the mittens and the PJs and all these ideas from everybody. And he goes to the store, and he makes a spread in the kitchen that makes a mess beyond all messes, because he knows what Santa would like. He could see the foods that Santa liked and the way that Santa was smiling, and so he leaves ice cream and pickled peppers and everything for Santa on the table. When he gets up the next morning, he has a note. Dear Arthur, you were so nice to take the time to find out my favorite foods and to make them. Thank you. Love, Santa. And another side note is his sister had cleaned up the kitchen. Have you had times where you just couldn't find the right gift? Do you remember that feeling of hemming and hawing? What did Arthur feel like in those stressful moments? What might Santa have felt like to walk into a kitchen where somebody is offering him pickled peppers, his favorite thing? It's in that spirit that we offer this first story about our conversations with Santa, thinking about the ways that they're two-way, thinking about what we learn when we care and when we can see the needs of another. And even for Arthur, he figured out a path to some joy. So we're going to have a few more stories today as we try to have a little fun with Christmas today. We are going to take some time of reflection first, some time for meditation. And for this part, maybe for the rest, we'll see, taking off the hat. And I invite Annie Lavin to help me with our time of meditation. There, you can see the hair, that'll be good. It's the first glimpse I got.
Our meditation today begins with words from Shari Woodbury entitled, Open to Awe. Perhaps some here have outgrown mystery. Maybe you have doubts about Santa or have forgotten the magic of a newborn child.
One might easily lose touch with awe in the struggle to do it all or simply to survive.
Hear now this invitation to open yourself to surprise today and be ready to greet unexpected delights.
What star shall shine on you? What child remind you that all can be touched by glory?
What gifts can you give? How will you join the holy story?
Thank you, Annie. Spirit of life and love, we come together today to be a part of the larger story. As we hold all that is this holiday season of 2020, may our hearts be open. As we see the challenges around us, may we be open to the ways hearts come together in mystery and miracle. We hold in love all who are experiencing or remembering loss this holiday season. Please sense that you are not alone. You are seen. We hold in love all who are in struggle, in need of food and job security, health, housing, and healthcare security. May we offer what we can to ease the many needs, and may we be open to receiving should we be in need. We lived in the midst of all of this, these times of joy and revelation, the moments of a child's delight, memories of times when our own needs were met, when our letters were heard. We hold in this season of anticipation the tapestry of life. In the moment of stillness, as we approach the longest night, may we hold it all tenderly and gently. We are part of the holiday season. As we hold these joys and sorrows, is to realize that we have something we can give. And this week, Easton has an outreach collection. We know Chestertown has been in the process of doing an incredible holiday sharing. I saw some of the numbers of the money that's been collected. There's an additional opportunity, and it's a county that's sort of between us both. And so I invite Jim Richardson to tell us about the opportunity to support Rebuild Caroline. So if you could move the spotlight or whatever we're doing today over to Jim, that would be great. You got it, Bill?
I didn't know I was doing it here, but yes,
If you're spotlighting, are you spotlighting me?
unintentionally.
Okay. Then we want Jim. We're good.
You're good.
Nice read.
Hi, everyone. This month's special collection is for an organization that UUFE has supported over the years. Rebuilding Together Caroline County provides free home repair services to low-income owners in Caroline County. These include elderly or disabled individuals or families with children whose homes require necessary but unaffordable repairs and improvements. Volunteers assist each client in determining eligibility based on financial need and the structural requirements of the dwelling. Last December, before COVID, Phil and Patrice Morrison, leaders of the organization, came to our Sunday service to remind us what they had been doing during the past year, and briefly shared with us 3 or 4 stories of the clients they had served. In the end, we were able to raise $500 from your generous contributions. Besides repairing roofs, insulating windows, and installing storm doors for the winter, one of their fastest growing needs in the county is for wheelchair ramps. Wheelchair ramps are a real necessity for someone who is no longer able to walk. They are also the difference between being able to get to the doctor's appointments, do their own shopping, visiting their families, or staying at home. At the beginning, Rebuilding Together built ramps out of wood, a labor-intensive job, and each one had to be custom made for the house. But starting a few years ago, they decided to invest in manufactured ramps made out of aluminum that could be easily assembled on site. The best part is that these ramps could be disassembled after the client no longer needed them and moved to another site. Recycled ramps, if you like. I can't imagine how important these ramps have been in these people's lives. Please consider contributing this year with a check. With the continuation of COVID-19, I'm sure their needs have grown even greater. You can also check them out on their website. Make your tax-deductible check out to Rebuilding Together Caroline County and mail it to the fellowship. The fellowship's address is UUFE, Post Office Box 1162, Easton, Maryland, 21601. Merry Christmas and thank you very much.
And I will also note you can use the donate button right on our website. If you use the donate button, just type in under outgoing that you want it to go to the outreach collection, and the elves that work behind the scenes, gratitude to the many elves, Judy and others who will make that come true. So as we've talked about release this week, I want us to think about generosity. We talked in my column this week, I talked about laughter being a release. Generosity has the same effect. When we share what we can, we feel a boost. As we move into further conversations with Santa today, as you think through, in a moment you're going to hear Ellen in a high energy mode with some music. Think about donations. Think about the gratitude and the two-way nature of sharing what we can. So our before sermon music now, a couple of Santa songs together. So that should add some energy to our morning here today. So we're going to talk a little bit about those letters that go to Santa today, not just the letters, but the conversations. And we thought it would be fun if we take a few of the letters that were written by Santa. And I've asked Jim Richardson to get us started. and for him to read a few of them today.
Hi, let's start off with a short one. Dear Santa Claus, did you live when the dinosaurs lived? I want a Gigadog. I want a Barbie house and a puppy. Love, Jessica. Here's another one. Dear Santa, I have been trying to be a responsible person. I would hope to get what I always wanted. The thing I want most is a dog. Dog, dog. I know I haven't been taking care of my Gigadog, but it is not real, and a dog would be. Santa, I would even trade my one and only mom for a dog. I knew that a dog would be a big responsibility, but I have been bugging my dad since I was 3, and I'm tired of it. Love, Megan. Or this one. Dear Santa, this year I have been good. You should come because I haven't hit my sister with my 4-wheeler. I would like a TV because I'm always bored in my room. I would like a Nerf gun because my cousin is getting one from my family. Is Rudolph real? How does your reindeer fly? Love, Townsend. Finally, here is an example where the author fit her message on a yellow Post-it. I want a lot of presents and a horse. Besides the horse, I don't care what the other presents are, as long as there are a lot of them. Lillian.
Thanks, Jim. So what is it? What is about the art of conversing with Santa? What is it about good conversation with anyone that makes it work? And so I look at these letters that Jim just read, and I see a couple different patterns. I just want us to all observe these. First, there is the softening. Most of them, not all of them, started out with Dear Santa. There's sort of that implicit, hi, how are you? Let's communicate, let's get into this scenario. But I think that does more. When we start correspondence, whenever we do for some way of starting it out, we are recognizing the other's humanity, or maybe it's the Santa-anity, whatever we want to call it. We are saying, let's talk. When I first began attending Unitarian Universalist churches about 25 years ago, any meeting I would go to, and of course I immediately started finding myself at meetings, we would always take the time to check in at a meeting. This just seemed strange to me. Why would we be sitting there checking in with one another about our days, talking about our mother who was sick, or our excitement about getting cookies at work, or saying just that it was a hard day? I hadn't experienced this in other meetings, and yet this opening, this Dear Santa part, is this place where we say, let's bring it all to the table if we're going to have a conversation. And I definitely got used to that. And then I thought about it. When I used to go to meetings, there was often coffee off to the side or something, and people were doing that. So whether it is a negotiation, a mediation, or a Santa letter, it's good to set the ambiance, to have the tone, to light the chalice, whatever you're going to do. Second, I want to observe that in these examples that Jim presented, there is sort of a presentation of the credentials. The I deserve this because part. In a Santa letter, that is the convention. I'm not sure when it got started, and I have actually a few second thoughts about that I'll talk about in a minute, but there is this presentation of, please read the rest of the letter, I am worthy. It's sort of like when you have a doctor or a professor or an electrician or a teacher. Before you begin the job, you want to know that the person is certified. There are also a few adaptations I've seen to this. There's some letters that I looked at that said, I've been pretty much good, but don't worry, I've made amends, I've cleaned it up. Or one of my favorites was in one of the newsletters this week. It said, I've been naughty, but I can explain. So I thought that there is always a place of both honesty and trying to make your case. As I said, we'll come back to the justification part, but it is typical in a Santa letter. And for right now, we're just observing how these conversations go. But then you get to the purpose of the letter, the ask, the requests. It's the place where the child, the adult, whoever's putting it in writing, cuts to the chase in plain terms. This is what I want, and maybe a little bit about why. So I ask you this question. What would you put in the ask section this year? What would you put if you were going to write a letter to Santa? I'm imagining right now, I'm talking mostly to the adults in the congregations, and I'm imagining your wishes are something like hugs, visits, safe routines. So I ask you this. When I ask the question, what did you put in your letter? Did you dream boldly, or did you hold back some? When I was a child, I think I was more of the Arthur. I struggled a lot. What would get everything right? And it wasn't that I didn't think about my own list. I was worried about what I gave others, but I was probably sort of a pragmatic version of his sister. When I got to making my own lists, I learned to be super specific. I shouldn't just say, I want a board game. I should say which one I wanted, or I might wake up to disappointment. And in our house, we were a house where you got a good handful of gifts, and you could ask for a radio, or you could ask for a sweater. There was different things you could ask for. And I knew that my family wasn't somebody who gave the really big ticket gifts, and I was okay with that. But I did learn to be specific, because I think sometimes as children, we're protecting ourselves from disappointment. We worry about these holidays. But if we're all adults here, is it okay to ask for what we'd really like in life? Is it okay? Can we value that? Is it actually healthy? Can we really put our wants out there and be specific and hope others do the same? I sometimes think, at least some of the friends I've got, congregants I talk to, they worry a lot about being too greedy. They know resources are limited. It's polite to hold back. You want to be both direct and careful. And I've wondered a bit, do our UU principles encourage us to be this sort of cautious, held back folks? And I've thought about it, I don't think exactly. Clearly the UU principles do not tell us how to write a Santa list, but they do offer hints. All of the UU principles are tied to relationships. Virtually every word there you can think of in relational terms, whether you're thinking about the inherent worth and dignity of somebody else, or the acceptance of one another, or respect for the interdependent web. All of this hinges on relationships. And in a trusted relationship, when you are working with a partner or with congregations or between groups, there needs to be a good understanding of what the needs are and what is wanted. Clarity in conversation helps, whether it's verbal or written. It is the foundation that we build the next step on. And if we're tentative and holding back, I think we miss some of the honesty. We can learn a lot from these raw letters to Santa. And also the way that Santa responds, I think we can learn. I also mention this with that caution to be careful what you wish for. So I want us to now imagine for just a minute, whatever you had on your list that I mentioned a few minutes ago, what if it came to you? What if it were delivered right now? What would you do with the visit? When would you make it happen? Who would you hug? What would you say to them? What if we just brought that real part of ourselves to the moment? And there's another part, I think, that happens a lot in our society when we have these conversations about who is entitled to things, who is even allowed to ask, who can be deserving and who is not. Do we need to be good in order to get what we want? I think one of the things to think about is the places in life that there are threats. There are places of withholding expressions of love, and in my broadest sense, if I think of all these gifts from Santa as being parts of expressions of love, threats are problematic. Judgment is problematic, and it's not that we can't have accountability. The kid spills something, they need to clean it up. The kid doesn't do their chores. There's accountability for all of that. But I am not a fan. I actually don't think it's the Santa I know who makes lists and categorizes who's naughty, who's nice, who's deserving, who's not. I don't remember that as part of my childhood. And I think I'm grateful that so many kids know that they will have grace, that Christmas will come in all situations. But it does remind us to ask, when are expressions of care conditional? What are the messages we send to children? Who do we think is worthy? Who is not? Because as I said, that Santa that I think we all love and know cares for everybody through his helpers. But I do worry that there are many children, especially those from poorer families, some from immigrant families, who hear messages from the media and worry, am I good enough? So I hope that as we picture these conversations, as we picture these transparent places where we ask for what we want, we can do so not feeling judgment, but having that blessing of feeling heard. And then we come to 2020. They've done some looks at the letters that are coming in from children around the world, and I'm sure there are plenty that are requesting their horses and their dogs, and there are Arthurs worrying about what to give. But they've seen a pattern. I looked at one of the websites was talking about some of the postal services in France, some of the other ones that are managed by the United States Post Office, and they do feel that there is a disproportionate amount of angst this year in the letters from the children. So I've asked Jim to read for us now a few more of the letters, some samples from 2020.
Yes, Sue, these are a little different. Dear Santa, I don't want anything for Christmas, but I would like to ask you if you can do me a favor. Can you please find a cure for COVID-19 and give it to us to save the world? Thank you, Jonah. And this one, Dear Santa, my stepdad is the only one working, and because of COVID-19, he had to stop working full time. Now he is working less because of COVID, and all the money he gets is for paying the rent and the bills. I really hope you can help my family and me. I know it's a lot, but I really believe in you. That was from Kimberly, age 13. Dear Santa, I'm sorry if I've been bad. It's really hard because of COVID-19. And online school in general, I'm trying to be good. Hope you understand. From one repository of letters, there was a note that Jim from Taiwan sent Santa, and he sent him a face mask. In another letter, Elena, age 5, asked in her letter that Santa please use the front door because the back door is only used by Grandma and Grandpa to lower their risk of catching the new coronavirus.
So what I love here the specificity of these letters. And I'm confident, as I said, that there are plenty of letters with all the games and toys, and that this Christmas, I think Amazon's going to make out wildly, those toys will be delivered. But what do we learn from these tender requests of children? I hope one of the lessons, I ask that we all get in touch with our inner child, that it's okay to ask for what you want and to put it out there, and that others will make space to understand. This is, I think, something that children need, and they are also looking for our reassurance, our confidence that we see them, that we hear them. It's not different than what each of us wants. Jim, maybe you could read one final letter.
Yes, a final letter. My mother is a caregiver, and sometimes I am scared for her. Take care of yourself, Father Christmas, and of the elves. Lola.
I think that letter is our ultimate lesson for today. Not only can we be specific, but can we take the time to notice the needs of others, the patterns of others, whether it's for pickled peppers or remembering which door to use in the house if you're Santa. I think in the Christian religious tradition, we know Jesus is born in those stories, whichever larger story you may see yourself a part of, to give us a fresh start in the world, a turning, a new way of seeing, a place where we have the gift of new life and not a place of judgment. What is the letter you would like to write to Santa? And if Santa were to answer in words or deeds, what would you hope would happen? I actually hope that after the service, you might take out a paper. You might actually write out that request. I hope you do not hear this as a message that we all need to hold back and be careful in our requests. I think if we do it thoughtfully, if we enter our conversations about our hopes and dreams boldly in a give and take mode, always listening, we grow. I also don't hope that you hear this as a message of scarcity or fear, but that with the trust of a child that reassurance will come and that things will change and there will be enough somehow. I hope that you hear that more comes when we praise a child for being kind and when they express care for another, not more in the way of stuff, but more in the relationships they can build, the skills that it's going to take to negotiate a complex world. I'm thinking these conversations to Santa are in fact a prayer. Maybe a framework for a prayer, maybe not to a God who is going to come down and fix everything for us all, but more of a prayer of that work of finding words to articulate what it is we hope for, to believe someone will hear our hopes and our concerns. Might this draft of a letter to Santa be your Christmas prayer? How might that prayer change you? Change those who feel heard as they enter that conversation with you. Do we hear? Are we listening? So in the spirit of all that has been 2020 and all that will be 2021, for the energy that comes with all of that, may it be so and blessed be. One of the cool things about virtual church is we can borrow from others, and in the spirit of high energy hymns and fun, we offer this hymn from another UU congregation out in I can't remember where it was, the UUs of the Grass River. God rest ye merry gentlemen, our final hymn.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born upon this day, to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. From God our Heavenly Father, this blessed angel came, and unto certain shepherds brought tidings of the same, how that in Bethlehem was born the Son of God by name. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
Born a king on Bethlehem's plain, gold I bring to crown him again, King forever, ceasing never over us all to reign.
Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
Glorious now, behold him arise, King and God and sacrifice. Hallelujah, hallelujah, worship him, God most high.
Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. God rest ye merry gentlemen, 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 let nothing you dismay.
So with those energy, we are in a moment going to extinguish the chalice, but I did want to check to see if there were any announcements. I think we had covered the outreach collections, we covered the Christmas Eve service. Stay tuned for December 27th. It's going to be somewhere between a complete break and a very gentle conversational chance to gather. Each congregation may do that a little bit differently. Any other announcements from any of our leaders that we need to make today? Bill or Jim, anybody have hands up?
I don't see anybody.
Okay.
Don't see anyone.
Okay. So we are going to close the service. I will extinguish the chalice, and the way this is going to work is after the postlude, there's a short postlude, we will just go right into coffee hour for anyone who would like to stay. And obviously coffee hour can be used in lots of ways, but you might want to start with the question, what is it I would put into a letter to Santa if I were going to write it right today? Ponder that as a question. So we close this time together, grateful for the honesty of our hearts. We close in hope that all will be heard, all will be cared for. Go in peace, go in love, go knowing love surrounds you wherever you may go. Have a good week, and I hope we see you at one of our services in the middle of the week. Take care.